Okay, we're going to get started. Can everybody hear me okay? Just give me a yes if you can hear me. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you all for coming. It's good to see everybody. All right, we're just going to talk about a few different topics. The first thing I want to say is those of you that are doing credit repair through me, whenever you get your new updated credit report, you have to send that to me. Out of everybody that I'm working on this month, only one person sent me their updated report. So if you don't send it, I'm not going to be able to send out additional information on your behalf. So you must get that to me. That's really a crucial part of me fixing your credit. Okay, now the second topic that I want to briefly touch on is right now, YouTube is really pushing the independent video creators down. We're being suppressed. And what they're doing is they're elevating the mainstream media on YouTube. How are they doing this? They're demonetizing everyone's video. That's not mainstream media. And they're doing this to virtually everybody, even people that have been on YouTube doing videos for a long time. So they actually hit me, and I would say maybe about 25% of my videos are demonetized. And I'm working on getting them monetized again. But until then, you know,
this is just their sneaky way of trying to elevate the mainstream media and get us out the way so that they can elevate them. So, you know, as I did before, I'm just going to ask any of you that can support my channel, please do. Patreon, you can make a $1 donation all the way up through $100. That's really up to your discretion. But if you can support me, then that's what I'm asking for. Especially, you know, I know with Black people, sometimes it's a budgetary thing, and I do get that. But that seems to be going on now. In reality, ladies and gentlemen, I think they really want to squeeze the Black YouTubers off. And they're just coming up with different ways of doing this to us, trying to discourage us so that we will leave. And that's really what this is about. And it's not just YouTube. I really believe the advertisers are in on this whole thing as well. It amazes me how our videos are not advertiser friendly, but they're talking about the same topics in mainstream media that these same advertisers support or they're sponsoring. And they're using the same words, they're using the same terminology as the people online, but we're not advertiser friendly, but they are. So I know the game they're playing. So they pretty much want Black YouTubers gone. And right now they're throwing the kitchen sink and doing everything they can to get rid of us. So, of course, I'm going to hang in there and do my videos. And those that are patrons, you always get the videos in advance. And you get additional videos that nobody else sees. And it will continue to be that way. All right, moving on to the next topic. Do you know teams all around the world are now taking a knee, including soccer teams overseas? They said they understand the plight of Black Americans. Hi, Golden Black. They understand the plight of Black Americans. And you know what the Germans said? It's a shame that they understand what freedom of speech and justice is, and America now got Nazis marching in the streets. I said, you know, isn't that the ironic thing going on right now? You really think about it. If freedom of speech is okay for Nazis to march up and down streets, going into Charlottesville, running people over, that's okay. But a Black person taking a peaceful knee is a big problem. So go figure. You know, America is like on life support now, y'all. It's on life support, and we know it. We know that America is sinking fast. Do you know the drug deaths, ladies and gentlemen, are up to 175 deaths per day? It is up to 175 a day. And the thing is, there are so many people, not only in politics, but around the country, that are literally begging Trump to sign that national emergency. And recently, Chris Christie has literally came damn near to cussing out Donald Trump because they made the recommendation, yes, 175 a day, Cortez. And you'll see the article when it comes out. The patrons already have it, but when it comes out tomorrow, everybody will see it. But yes, it's up to 175 drug deaths per day. It's hard to believe. So if it's up to and prior to that, it was like 142. So it went from 142 to 175 a day. So give it another few months. It'll definitely be 200 or more a day. Easy, easy. And they said the first 8 months of 2017 has already surpassed all of the drug deaths of 2016. So from January to August, already went past the full year of drug deaths of 2016. So 2017 is definitely outpacing 2016. Oh yeah, you're going to see 200, because right now they're doing absolutely nothing to stop the drug deaths. And of course, they're blaming Trump, because Trump was the one that went on the campaign trail and said he could stop it. He went on the campaign trail and said he was going to stop the opioid plague in this nation. And we all know one man absolutely cannot stop this drug plague. It is absolutely impossible. And plus, if you, hi Melanin Nation, if you look at everything Trump has done, Trump has literally done nothing to help these junkies out here. If anything, he's gutting all kinds of treatment programs and pulling the plug on those programs altogether. And he's already said his national emergency is not to help drug addicts, it's to fight the illegal drugs on the street. So really, they're still not going to get help at all. Yeah, well, they're not going to stop it. If they had the ability to stop this thing, you would have seen it by now. You would have at least seen it slow down. It's not even slowing down. It's going strong. And that's because the illegal drug is priced so cheap on the street and so affordable, it's not going to stop. It's just not going to stop. And you'll see when my article comes out tomorrow. It's going to astonish you. In fact, the people in Congress, in the Senate, are begging Trump to do something because their constituents are all complaining about the drug deaths in their states. All of them are complaining to Trump. You know, all of them are trying to get Trump's attention because the deaths in virtually every state in this country is off the charts when it comes down to drug violence. You know what, Just Glowing? Yes, I heard about them letting non-violent offenders go. They had no business being in there in the first place. They're only in there just to be slaves. And hopefully this will spread throughout the nation to get a lot of people out of jail that really had no business being in there in the first place. Yeah, you know, I think eventually they're going to be legalizing marijuana here in New Jersey, where I am as well. Well, the Black Lady of Chaos and Havoc, America is a slave nation. It is. Slavery has never stopped in America. It's never stopped. No, you're right. You're right, Rella D. No, yeah, they haven't done nothing, but they can't. You know, they're recessive. They can't be out in the sun all day. You know, during slavery, there was no sunscreen in America at all. They would have died if they would have went out there and done that work. And look, they got sunscreen on the shelf and they're still burning up. Look at how many red cockazoids you see all summer long, and they got sunscreen on the shelf. So they're burning up even with sunscreen. So you can imagine when there was no sunscreen on the shelf, they would have just burned up and died. And not to mention the fact that they didn't work during chattel slavery. Just go look in the history. Whites did not work. The only ones that was working in the South were the slaves. White people did not work at all. So the notion that they have built everything and invented everything is just laughable. Okay, many of them were no more educated than your average slave. During chattel slavery, the vast majority of whites in the South couldn't read or write. Only a small percentage of them could do it. So they really weren't that much smarter or better than your average slave. Yeah, they didn't invent anything. If you didn't do the work and you didn't have the education, how are you going to invent everything? It's just preposterous for them to even put that out there. Their ancestors literally did nothing but sit on their flat asses all through chattel slavery. This is why they had to come up with the unions after slavery, because they had no skills. Where are you going to get skills from if you didn't work? And if you didn't work and had no skills, how are you going to invent anything? Come on. You got to be stupid to believe that. Yeah, but white indentured servants didn't do any hard labor. It's so not the same thing. It's not even funny. And what they also don't tell you in history is when slaves ran away from the plantation, so did indentured servants. Their butts ran away too. They were running away at the same time the slaves were running away. So many of the indentured servants never fulfilled their time that they were supposed to under their contract. Oh, it's a huge difference. First of all, indentured slaves got paid. When they were done, they were given land, weapons, food, livestock, all kinds of things. Where chattel slavery, when the emancipation was signed, they just left with the clothes on their backs. They weren't given anything. Yeah, you know what? I don't think that wall is going to ever happen. Detroit lives. I don't believe it. I don't believe it's going to ever happen. And like the former president, Vicente said, what good is a wall going to do when they can just buy a 25-foot ladder from Walmart and go right over the wall with it? And technically, he's right. Well, yeah. Um, the Lady of Soul of 502. It will. We're in the end times. Yeah, they're using drones to bring the drugs over the border. Did you see? You can actually go out and watch the videos on that. They have drones that can carry up to 60 pounds of drugs that they are using to go right over the wall with the drones. And you know when they're doing it? At night, where it's hard to spot them in the sky. That's what they're doing. And and most of them are making it over into the US. They only catch just a handful, just a few. The vast majority of them make it. That's why I'm saying that the drug cartel will always be steps ahead of the DEA. It's always been that way, always. And it's not going to change anytime soon. Yeah, I was reading about the fire. The last time I looked, it was up to 35 deaths, and the fire is still going strong. Over 100 acres are scorched, and they got 10,000 firefighters, 10,000 that are working to put this blaze out, and it's still going strong. I think firefighters from Nevada has come in, from other states around California have sent in firefighters, 10,000, and the thing is still going strong. So that's a powerful, powerful fire. And it says it's moving so fast they can't even keep up with it. Yeah, the winds have been a factor, and not only that, Jada T, the conditions are very dry. And because the conditions are dry, a lot of those homes and the trees and everything are going up like a match. You know what? The Most High is in charge. The Most High is in charge. And if he wants that fire to burn for another week, you can best believe it will happen. And I tell you what, that fire is spreading and it's not missing a home, is it? It's burning up the homes, the trees, the businesses, it's burning everything up. And I also read they're having problems with looting because the area is evacuated. Even the people's houses that didn't burn down because of the fire being so unpredictable, they had to evacuate. So you got all these white guys. The ones I've seen, they were all white looting. Oh yeah, I did a video. That's why I had to do the video on that. I said, you know what? But you know what? You know what he did though? Just one Ziz Philly. You know what he did? He exposed that slavery is still going strong. And we knew what they were doing. Like I said, it's no coincidence that slavery, right after slavery ended, prisons went up all over the place. That's not a coincidence. Okay. The prisons went up everywhere. And on top of that, they were putting you in there for the dumbest things. Any little itty bitty thing they could come up with, they were putting people in jail. So they had no intentions of letting Black people go. And number two, like I said, if they could carry off doing everything without the assistance of Black people, you would have seen it by now. They haven't done it yet. They went from chattel slavery to the prison industrial system. They have not showed in one single century that they could make it without Black labor. Not one century, not one. And he was talking about these are the bad ones. You know what the bad ones are? The bad ones are the ones that refuse to do the slave labor. That's what the bad ones mean. The ones that are behind bars and say I ain't doing shit and they're not working. Those are the bad ones. No, they don't have they can't do the work. If they did the same chattel slavery, guaranteed they would have all been dead. They would have died out a lot quicker. Number one, remember, slavery was at a time when sunscreen did not exist. And look, sunscreen exists and you still see them walking around fried up. Okay. They would have got skin cancer, burnt up in the sun, got all kinds of pus balls, and eventually died. They couldn't go out there and do that work. Just like they can't go out there and do it now. That's why he's whining. Oh, well, the good ones are doing it. That's because he can't do it, ladies and gentlemen. If he went out there and spent that same amount of time out in the sun, he would literally fry up. But the devil is never going to admit that they need you. They're never going to admit it. That's why I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, if we unite, their life as they know it would be over. We would literally bring down white supremacy if we united. Right now, too many of our people are afraid and think they got something to lose. And, when we separate, I'm telling you, they will collapse immediately. You will see who the real inferior one is. We already know who it is. Walk away from them and cut them off. I promise you, they won't last a week without the assistance of Black labor. They will not make it a week. But so many of our people are brainwashed by these demons. They think they need them. You don't need them. You don't. They need us. They need us. We don't need them. We don't need them at all. You never heard of our people running around the world getting a whole bunch of slaves. We knew how to do things for ourselves. Our ancestors didn't do that. They knew how to maintain themselves and live. These demons can't live without us. They need us. They are parasites. They got to feed off of our labor and our talent. They can't make it no other way. And our people got to stop being scared of the devil. They are nothing to fear. You have nothing to fear. Seriously. You have absolutely nothing to fear when it comes down to them. Oh, we had everything. When they found us in Africa, we had towns, we had temples, everybody lived in their own homes. It was civilized, it was beautiful from what I understood. It was an absolutely beautiful place. They destroyed everything and burnt, I think, over 7,700 books that we had. And when we got taken into chattel slavery, I was reading, we had people over there 120 years old. Black people were living until 120 years old. Your average European was living until like 35. What does that tell you? Does that sound like they were better than us? Please. Oh, please. We never needed them. And that's the bottom line. Always remember who needed the slave, who went hunting around for slaves. They did. They did. And Europe was in shambles. Europe was a cesspool. If it wasn't for the Moors, it's no telling what shape Europe would have been in. It would have certainly been a lot worse if it wasn't for the Moors running it. Because they know who we are, the Lady of Soul. They know who we are. They know we are better than them. They know we're more capable of them. And the Lady of Soul 502, we are the one group on this planet that can bring them down. And they know it. Believe me, if oppression stops, it's going to be because of the Black man and woman putting a stop to it. It ain't going to be no Hispanic man, okay, and women. It ain't going to be no Asian men and women. It's going to be us. And they know it. They know it. This war is spiritual. This is a spiritual war, and they feel it. They know who's going to bring them down. It ain't going to be none of those other groups. It's going to be us. That's why they don't focus on them. They focus on us. And the thing is, the one thing you should never do is fear them. Don't be afraid of them. They're a cowardly group. This is why they will never fight you without a gun, and they will not fight you without a whole pack of wolves, like a pack of dogs. They won't fight you one-on-one because they're too afraid. They're cowardly people. That's why every time when you see videos, when they don't have access to that gun, They damn near get their life beaten out of them. Hey, Cap, and they know it. No, they can't fight worth shit. Just watch any given video of them fighting. I saw little girls fighting better than I see the average white man fighting. I'm serious. I saw better fights when I was a little girl watching two girls fight. We can't fear them. You just can't. We are the original men, women, and children of the earth. There's no way the most recessive beings on the planet are better than us. It is just not possible. The longer you are here, the stronger your genetics are. And our genetics are strong. And their genetics are weak. I mean, shoot, even Asians can wash out their genetics. When white people have children with Asians, the kids all practically look like 100% Asian. And that's exactly what Dr. Cress Welsing was talking about. They fear genetic annihilation. And they fear it even more now because they're not reproducing. Yeah, but that's not beauty. And see, the Lady of Soul 502, it's not beauty. It's not beauty. Okay. The only reason why they get away with saying it's beauty is because they own the media. It's not because it's true. We know damn well when you look at them and you look at other women on this planet, they are not the most beautiful. And in my opinion, they're not even in the running of being beautiful at all. But they own the media. They own it. So they get to put that fake propaganda out there. And we've seen them. We've seen too many of them, and we know better. They're not beautiful people at all. The only way they pull it off is because they own all of the media outlet. That's the only reason. If we all had to pick and choose who was the most beautiful on this planet, they wouldn't even be picked. You see that Miami coach getting exposed? No, I don't believe I did see that at the beginning. Yeah, well, like I said, if we had to take a poll on this earth, nobody is going to pick them as the most beautiful. I promise you that. It will not happen. Oh, yeah, yeah. He was with some black stripper. I think he sent the video to some black stripper. I remember that now. Yes. And I heard a lot of people went after her for exposing the video. I don't know what they're mad at her for. He was the one dumb enough to send it. I don't know what they're mad at her about. I mean, these cave fools think you're not supposed to say anything about the dirt they do. But he was the one that videotaped himself doing lines. So, hey. Yeah, well, she was a stripper. And most of those strippers, those old white men like him, they just use him for his money. That's all. In order for her to expose that video, The way she did, she ain't into him. You don't do that to somebody that you're really into. Well, yeah, you know what? Jack Johnson, a lot of older white men are. A lot of them are like that. In fact, I remember I read, and this was probably like back in the maybe like the early part of 2000s. I was reading this long post that this white man put online. And he said if this was a very different world, he would have dated nothing but black women. He said black women were way better than white women. And, and it was not the only white man I've seen posted stuff like that online. Not the only one. And a lot of them, because of white supremacy, they're afraid. And I'm glad they are. I really don't want them flocking to black women anyway. I really don't. I don't want it. Yeah, I don't have nothing in common with them. And I don't even try to have nothing in common with them either. I'm not interested. We're me and white men are on two different frequencies. We don't have nothing in common. Well, most don't. It's really not that many. To be honest with you, William James, it's really not that many black men dating white women. The only reason why it seemed like it is because they keep throwing it in the media. But when you look at the actual numbers, Latino men and Asians actually date more whites and marry more whites than black people do. But because of the media brainwashing, it makes you think that it's the black man and black women that are with them more than anyone else. And that's a lie. If anything, when you look at the actual numbers, whites are the biggest one dating outside of their race more than anyone. They're dating blacks, they're dating Asians, they're dating Latinos. They are the ones that are dating the biggest outside of their race. But the spotlight is mainly always on black males, but it really isn't black males at all. Yeah, Asians and whites and Asians and blacks are only in certain parts of the country. My greatness, it's not everywhere. It's not everywhere. I agree. I wish they would stick with their own too, but unfortunately they don't. But you know what? Just think about this. When they came to this country, there was no race mixing going on with the tribes that were here. There was no race mixing. The race mixing did not begin in America until the Europeans showed up. When the Europeans showed up, that's when it started. And then it makes me laugh. Then they gonna form some clan group talking about some no race mixing. Your ass came here and did it first. What are you talking about? These people are insane, man. But like I said, it's all of the brainwashing and everything that's going on. Let me just see. And then people were asking me about the Harvey Weinstein. Just another pervert in Hollywood. I don't see, he's just one of many. He's not the only pervert that was raping and taking advantage of people and having sex with all kinds of, he's not the only one. But when I look at him, he's disgusting. I would be grossed out if something like that touched me. Get out of here, man. But it's always the fat, ugly ones anyway. So I wasn't really into doing those type of stories, but yes, they were over in Europe. They were over in Europe. But listen to me, my greatness. It was still the whites doing it more than anybody else, just like it is today. They were doing that stuff more than anyone. The number one race mixer on the planet is your white men and women. When you look at all the different groups that they have mixed with, they are your biggest race mixer on the whole earth. Yeah, J Dog, I did hear about Diddy wants to form his own football team, his own league. I think that's a great idea. I think it's a great idea, and I think that these football players should not allow these owners to treat them like they're still on the plantation. They've made all of these new rules now. The owners are going behind the scene making all these new rules for the players. And we'll see if these players are real men or they're still boys on the plantation. Time will tell. Diddy could pull it off. I mean, you really, any of those ball players, if they pulled their money together, they wouldn't even need the NFL. They wouldn't need them. Yeah, right. $40 million slaves. You're right about that. I mean, technically, they don't really need the NFL. If you had a all black football league, I promise you the NFL would be out of business in no time. Nobody's going to watch a bunch of white guys. Loretta's fine, Sharon. Nobody's going to watch a bunch of white guys running up and down a field. It's not entertaining, and nobody wants to see that. Yes, the big three, J Dog 88. Yeah, Ice Cube. Well, as far as the anthem, no, I don't think they should stand up. I don't care what threats the owners make, because it's not the owner that makes the game. It's those black players. The NFL is 76% black. And they got the numbers on their side. As long as they're not being cowardly, they got the numbers on their side. And they really don't need to do anything those owners say. Those black players are the ones that make the NFL what it is today. It's not the owners. Those recessive fools couldn't play the game to save their life. They're only filling their pockets off of the talents of black men. Yeah, well, I hope the players don't give in to that. I understand where they're coming from. We know how they are. They'll put, oh, well, I need my job over doing the right thing. Yeah, yeah. Somebody did try to sue Ice Cube saying that he stole their idea, and I really doubt that highly because we know the recessive ones are always the ones ripping us off, not the other way around. There's not a lot of black people out here ripping them off. It's just not happening. You know what it is? Ice Cube, his big three, has really taken off, and they were not expecting that to happen. So I'm not surprised about the lawsuit, and I won't be surprised if more lawsuits come. You know, I think in their minds, he was not supposed to make it. It was not supposed to be as big as it is. And he's getting ball players that are big names that everybody's familiar with. And I think the last one that he brought on was Allen Iverson, I think. Well, Darren Wilson. I put him up there with George Zimmerman. I can't stand either one of them. Yeah, well, BIE. BIE. No, see, what they want to do is eliminate anybody that's not going along with white supremacy and you're black. And you're not going to kiss their ass. All of the ones that refuse to kiss their ass were now labeled as BIE. You know, and you know, they have to make something up to eliminate the ones that they know don't love them. So they came up with the BIE BS. Well, I'm not surprised. You know, and it goes back to what Phil had said from the Advice show. He said when he was talking to him, see me, I don't talk to him. You know, I'm done with that. It gives me a migraine trying to talk to him. He was trying to pink. Just glowing, you're a mess pie. Pink identity extremist. Now that's funny. Pie. Now, Phil was saying when he was talking to them behind the scenes, they were saying they just want black people to love them. I get it. But what have they done to earn that love from us? Not a damn thing. So therefore, no, we don't have to just freely give them our love. At least I don't think so. Seriously, what have they done to earn our love? They haven't done a damn thing. No, I don't just have to love you. Screw that. Right. Exactly. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm kind of nibbling on some popcorn right now. I'm a little hungry. Um, you're right. Um, you can't keep beating up on a group of people. Yeah, I'm serious, my greatness. I'm serious. You can't keep beating up on a group of people and then turn around and demand that they love you or act like you're hurt when they don't love you. And that's the way it came off when he was explaining it. It's almost like they're hurt when they read the comment section and they realize we don't love them. And in my opinion, don't be hurt. If you were really sincere, you would do something about white supremacy. The fact that you're just sitting there hurt, I'm not concerned about them being up in their feelings. I really don't care. I mean, I'm just saying, if you want black people to love you, what have you done to win black people over? They haven't done nothing. They want some, it's just like they have been all throughout history. They want something for nothing. And it just doesn't work that way. Hmm. Right. Elena, yeah, calling us a bunch of niggers. It's just their way of showing of love, right? And like I said, until the ones that make the claim they are not racist stop the ones that are, then I don't want to hear nothing from them. I really don't. I don't want to hear it. Well, Phil will talk to him. Me, I don't have time to be bothered. When I look at what they write in my comment, a lot of it you won't see because I filter it out. When I see what they write in my comments, it makes me even more less interested in even interacting with them. You don't get to call us a bunch of niggers and then talk about some we need to have a dialogue. Fuck you. Who the hell needs to have a dialogue with somebody like that? The hell with you. But that's how psychotic they are. They believe they can do that and say those kind of things to black people and then talk about some dialogue. I ain't having no dialogue with a bunch of hillbillies. Get out of here. I don't worry about hating white people. They're not that important. They're not even important enough to hate. Just keep it moving. Well, that's because William James, most of them are insincere. They're not very sincere when they're sitting and telling you they're not a racist. That's why. And it's a spiritual thing. You can tell they're lying. You can tell they're not being sincere. Spiritually, you can feel it. It's not, they're not being genuine. That's why. Oh, okay. No, I don't even waste my time, especially when I see what they write in my comment section. Ain't no damn way I want to have a dialogue with them. Get out of here. And I love how they always want to imply black people are monkeys and we have not one drop of primate DNA, but they do. And in all honesty, I really believe the Neanderthal was a primate. I think they only drew it as a human like creature because they didn't want you to see just how much animal blood they got in them. But when you look at a Neanderthal skull, and just look, if you ever get a chance, go out and look at a Neanderthal skull. and then compare it to the facial structure and everything of a chimp. It's virtually the same. I believe the Neanderthal looked more primate than human, but I think they're ashamed of that. That's why they try to draw it up or make models of it to make it look like more like a human-like creature. And I don't believe it looked human at all. Look at the big eye sockets on it. Those big eye sockets, that's not human. It is way bigger than a human. The whole facial structure is way bigger than a human. And I think that's the case because it was more primate than human. But every time they show you a depiction of a Neanderthal, they try to make it look human-like. And I don't believe they look like that at all. I think they look more like a chimpanzee than a human. Pedophile identity extremism. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, and tails too. Exactly. Exactly. I don't think it looked anything like a human. I really don't. Yeah, I saw that. I'm not shocked. Asians are very racist. I'm not surprised. I never had a close relationship with Asians anyway. I remember when I was about in the 5th grade, I had one Japanese girl in my classroom, and I never liked her. I never liked her at all. And I didn't go nowhere near her, and I didn't want her near me. That was probably the closest. Well, there was another Asian guy in junior high school, but like I said, I had no interaction or relationship with them. I was not interested in getting to know them either. Exactly, Cap. I don't even find them attractive. Maybe it's me. I when I look at Asians, I do not find Asians attractive, and I think the men are super ugly. Some ugly ass men. Them Asians and those East Indian men are so ugly. Slope heads. Yeah, they're feminine looking, but I don't find Asian men attractive at all. I think they're one of the ugliest men on earth. Yeah, you know what? You know what the problem with them is? There's been a lot of lies, even when it comes down to Asians. You know, you're taught, oh, they are smart. Oh, they're this. No, they're not. You know what they used to do when I went to college? There might be one or two smart ones. What they do is they all group together and sit together in class. And it might be one or maybe two of them in the group that may be smart. And then what they do is they all sit together and everybody copies off of each other's work. That's what they do. I saw them do that all throughout college. You let Black people do that, it would be a problem, but they let them get away with doing that. Them and the East Indians were the main ones in school doing that. They'll sit there in a group and they all copy off of each other. And that's how they get through college. Anybody that's been in college with them know exactly what I'm talking about. And the white professors let them get away with that shit. If Black people grouped together and did that shit, they would have an issue with it and they'd be trying to separate you all over the class. But when they sit and copy off of each other, they let them continue to sit together and do it for all 4 years of college. They're not that smart. They just copy off of each other. Now, I don't really eat too much Chinese food anymore. Never order Chinese food on the phone. Do they seem like they were smart to you? Please. Many of them can barely speak English. Many of them can barely speak the English language. And some of them have been here for many years. America is about fakery. You know, they put all kinds of fakery on people. Oh, the Asians are smart and the white people created everything. And the black people, we've been here all this time and done nothing. Get out of here. Well, yeah, you're right, Jerome Davis. White people are the only ones that I have seen throughout history that cheer death. You know, and you can see it, especially in those lynching photographs. Their asses cheer and celebrate death. It's disgusting. And they did it again when who was it? Bin Laden. When Bin Laden was that they went to the streets cheering. They went into the streets cheering like it was a big party. And then you saw the same thing when Gaddafi was killed. Hillary went on TV cackling and laughing over it. You know, there are sick people. They're sick non-people, I should say. Yeah, they're sick. They think that shit, you cheer and celebrate death. It's disgusting. Oh yeah, you know, they killed black people and did let me show y'all something. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. See if I can find this. Let's see. Let me show y'all some pictures here. Let's see. See if I can find these. I see. No. Must be under African. Here it is. Let me see if I can show you this image. All right, let me share my screen. I'm going to show this to you. It is disgusting. So just brace yourself. Let's see if you can see this. Okay. All right. Let me know if you can see. Yeah, yeah, it's disgusting. These were actual warriors. And what they did was they beat this sick white man you see in the picture was part of the French colonial troops, and they beheaded these men and then put them on the wall like some type of trophy. You know, first of all, you got to be sick in the head to put dead shit on your wall. Who does that? I mean, even if it's an animal, who puts dead things on their wall? I'll never forget when my son was little, we went into this one restaurant, and the owner of the restaurant used to love hunting. And he had, I kid you not, horns, animal horns and antlers all over the restaurant. And it's sick. Yeah. How do you pray for France when they go through a terrorist attack? But this is what the French did in Africa, ladies and gentlemen, when it was being colonized by them. This is what they did. Put these black men who were warriors, their heads on the wall like some damn trophy. This was done by the French. That's why when they went through their terrorist attack, I wish I would cry for somebody over in France. I wish I would. Yeah, I don't deal with no French, and I'm not talking about we're all French today. Like hell we are. Hell with that. But yeah, I don't know if all of you saw this, but it's disgusting. You get that down. I mean, it's sick. It is really seriously sick. But see, these are the kind of monsters that we're dealing with. And we're told, and then they try to tell us and try to act as if we're the one with the problem. I mean, seriously, it's not them. It's us. We're the ones with the problem. We're BIE. You know, this is some sick shit. I mean, how are we supposed to respect a people that do stuff like this? Yeah, Golden Black. I remember that they literally raped that guy, the black guy, And the black people over in France are catching hell just like here in America, and the same thing with the UK. Same thing. In fact, the UK does the same thing that America does. It jails black men, mainly black men, and use them as labor, slave labor. They do the same thing there. It's disgusting. Like I said, I wouldn't even care if it was animal heads, but this is the legacy, ladies and gentlemen, of the French. I mean, all of them are sick. The Belgians went over there and did a lot of sick shit. You know, they all went over in Africa and did crazy, all kinds of insane mess to the population. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, go back to Africa. Why? They're there. The only way I'll go back if they got to be ran out of there. They got to go. Because I don't want to go all the way back to Africa and then sit there looking at them. No. But personally, we should not leave this land. This is our land. Our people are the ones that built America. Yeah, they got 18,000 heads in museums, and they're all the heads of Africans. 18,000 African heads. That's what they have. Right. They hate Africa, but they all became wealthy off of Africa. They all became wealthy off of melanated people's labor, but they hate what's dark. Get out of here. Yeah, 18,000 heads. That's what they have. Did it to 18,000 Africans. And then when they have a terrorist attack over in France, they talking about some pray for France. You know, I'll pray for their asses, all right. I'll pray for their destruction. And then he's sitting there right in the middle of all these heads like it's nothing. It's nothing, just sitting there all like, oh, it's just sick. It's absolutely sick, y'all. But here's Howard University cheerleading squad taking a knee, and all beautiful black women all taking a knee together. All taking a knee. And this is the Berlin soccer players all taking a knee. So it's happening all over the globe. And, you know, the whole world understand all of the injustice that's going on here with black people. Everybody is seeing it. And trust me, they are. You know, they you know, they think their propaganda that's going out to the whole world, that we're the problem, and they're just trying to do this and justice and all this other crap. People ain't buying their propaganda BS anymore. You know, their propaganda was strong, and it still is strong, but it's nowhere near what it used to be. People ain't buying everything that they say anymore, especially when it comes down to black people. they have such a terrible track record. It can't be ignored. Well, they've all indoctrinated every last one of us into white supremacy through the school system. And you can see, like I said, some of our people are more of a mental slave than others, unfortunately. And they want to believe that there's some humanity in this devil when there's no humanity in them at all. Well, just one is Philly. Well, vampires usually don't sleep. Yeah, just right. That's exactly right, Jerome Davis. They lack the humanity to really be leading. They really shouldn't be leading at all, but we know what the biblical text said. Our people fell from favor with the Most High when they turned away from Him and started praying to false gods and not doing the Sabbath and just not doing the right thing. But the bottom line is we can turn all of that around. All we got to do is unite. These devils cannot stand on their own. They can't. They need a host to leech off of. Yeah, but that prison labor that they're using us as slaves in prison, that's happening today. That's not happening in the past. That's why I don't even pay attention to them when they talk about the black problem and we're the problem. They had centuries to do something about their black problem. So it must not be that big of a problem. We're still here. And you really think about it. If you had to save anybody on this earth, think about this. If you had to save any group on this earth, why would you save the one that's dying out? Sarah, why would you save the group that's dying out? Their butts are going to be gone anyway. You would save the ones that are still producing and still able to repopulate the earth, the ones that are replacing themselves, the ones that are dying out, and you're replacing the ones that are dying. Why would you leave the ones that are barely producing as the last group on earth? Give me a break. That's stupid. It would be dumb to keep them here. Well, that's their bright look. You ever notice Just Glowing? Everything that they do at the end of the day turns out to be a failure. I'm serious. Everything they do always turns out at the end of the day turns out to be a failure. I mean, seriously, at this point, I think if you left them on the earth last, the whole world would belong to the animals. Seriously, they would eventually die out, and the whole goddamn planet would go to the animals. They can't be the last ones on the earth because they can't reproduce. It would be pointless keeping them here. And the Most High made them barren for a reason. He made them that way because their time is up. Once you go barren, once your women's womb is barren and they can't reproduce, it's lights out for you. It's over. Yeah, because you know what? They didn't, the Most High during the flood, Cap got rid of everything that didn't belong here. And those dinosaurs didn't belong here. He did not create them. They did not come from him. They came from the fallen angels. Anything that was not supposed to be here was eliminated, just like the giants. Remember, we read about the giants in the Bible. The giants are gone because they didn't belong here. In fact, Yehoshua wouldn't even deal with them. He had nothing to do with those giants that were on earth. You know, anything that came from the fallen angel is going to be genetically jacked up. That's why they can't reproduce to this day. Worth shit. You know what, Melanin Nation, I believe they were, but I believe they just didn't belong here. That's why when the flood happened on the earth, they were eliminated. They were taken out of here. You know, anything that didn't belong here got killed in the flood. Do you know there were a lot of people walking around back then? You ever see people with webbed fingers? It was saying that it was a lot of people on this earth prior to the flood with webbed fingers. And that didn't come from the Most High. The Most High didn't make us like that. Those people didn't belong here. There were a lot of people with webbed fingers and webbed toes. You know, they had that extra layer of skin in between their fingers and toes. And those people didn't belong here. He didn't create them. Yes, yes. Go look at the images in Google. You'll see what I mean when I say webbed fingers and webbed toes. You can, there's actually people still born that way. It's just not that many. But there are still a small percentage of people born with webbed fingers. And they got like an extra layer of skin in between their fingers. That's why it's called webbed. But the pre-Noah days, there were a lot of people on earth like that. And they did not belong here. Those were not of the Most High. Those were the people that came from the fallen angels. Well, Melanin Nation, look, they're born with tails. So they're born with tails and all kinds of crazy mess. What is that, a bot? I think that's a damn one of them stupid bots. Yeah. I mean, they have those, they came from the fallen angels, the people with the webbed fingers and toes. That didn't come from the Most High. He didn't create nothing like that. Well, you know what the problem with Caucasian females. They think everybody on earth want them. And they have the audacity to believe that black women want to be like them. The average black woman don't want to be anything like her. Why the hell would I want to be some recessive gene head lice woman? I mean, come on. But they have been propped up on a pedestal for so long, they walk around and believe a lot of falsehoods. And they try to act as if it's true and real, and it's not. It's not. They just tricked her into believing she is the most desired woman on earth. And that's done through the media. Yeah, and the primates are running the asylum. You're right. They are. Like I said, they lack the humanity to lead. They really don't have it at all. And that's because they're not human. Martina Big. Yeah, I saw that freak of nature. Well, she did an interview. I was watching one of her interviews, that Martina Big. She was saying white women from all over the globe contacted her and told her they want to do the same thing too. And she said, and it was a lot of women from America contacting her. And I believe it. I believe it. Yeah, their babies are ugly. Elena 82. Their babies are so ugly. I mean, you can literally see their veins. One time, this was years ago, I was out and it was some white woman with her baby in front of me in line at the store. And you could see blue veins all through the baby's head. It was disgusting. They have some ugly, ugly ass babies. And I don't know how true it is, but one of my friends told me you can even see all them veins all through the baby's eyes. And I was like, ugh. Now, I never looked that closely, but I remember she was close to me and her baby, you could just see a whole bunch of blue veins all going across the baby's head. It was sick. Ugh, I can't believe our foremothers were forced to breastfeed them animals. Ugh. Yeah, they're not. And you can tell they're not as advanced as black babies. Black babies can hold their heads up and look around, where it takes white babies, I think, 6 weeks or more before they can even do that. You can tell, they're just here mimicking us. We are the real humans on earth, and they are just mimicking us. That's really all that's going on right now. Yeah, well, they did it all through chattel slavery. They gave them creatures to black women to breastfeed. Well, the problem with white women, they want attention from all men on the planet, especially black men. That's why when Diddy complimented black women, they got all in an uproar because they think they deserve compliment over any other woman on this planet. And it's kind of the fault of the coon because it hasn't been all black people by no stretch of the imagination. It's the coon that keeps propping them up on the pedestal. So now they expect to get those things from black men, even when they don't clearly deserve it. You would think you would think they would want attention from their own men over anybody else, but no, they want attention from their own men. They want attention from black men and any other man on this planet. Yeah, Cortez, they are the most insecure people on the face of the earth. Well, you can tell when you see their newborns and you look at them, they can't even focus. Like their eyes can't focus on you. Their eyes are like all over the place. It's weird and it's creepy. I have looked at their newborns. Their eyes are goes all over the place. It's real creepy. Where black babies can focus, like they'll follow the sound, and you could, because I saw that with my son, that they follow the sound. Their babies can't do that. They can't do. Can you imagine your baby's eyes can't focus? Yeah, they're cross-eyed, or one eye will go in one direction, the other eye will go in another. It's really weird and creepy. And they don't even catch up to black babies for like 6 weeks. It is the weirdest thing you ever want to see. You can tell something is clearly not right when you look at their babies in comparison to black babies. You can clearly tell from the start that something is definitely not right. Yeah, and not only that, when they're born with tails, their backs have an extra vertebra. That's another thing that's weird. Yeah, Lord Maul, that is very true. That's why we always called our young ones children. They called theirs kids. That's why I try to be a lot more mindful now and try to make sure I call, black children. But technically, their kids aren't even human. They are kids. Yeah, the black babies are always been more advanced. That's why they have all white women in black neighborhoods to slow your kids down. They know what they can do and they know they're more advanced than their kids. But they have to come into the black neighborhood and try to slow you down. If they didn't come, we would have sailed right past them a long time ago. They would have dropped right down to the bottom where they really truly belong. Yeah, that's why I can never understand why so many of our men and women want to mix with them. They show all the signs of being inferior, but our people look at them and I guess they fall for the propaganda that they're such great people and they're just not. They're wicked. Okay, every time I point that out to them online, they have a meltdown. And I always take it back to the evolution chart. And the reason why I do that is because they are the ones that keep showing that to every elementary school kid in this country. And then, of course, when I bring it up, the first thing is, I don't believe in evolution. Then why do you keep teaching it? If you don't believe in evolution, then why do y'all keep whipping out that evolution chart to everybody in this country in elementary school if you don't believe in it? And it didn't take me long to realize everything on that chart wasn't human. There's no way you can start out as a monkey and then go to all these different subspecies and the end result is a real human. It is genetically impossible. It is impossible. So usually when I raise that, they have a meltdown every single time. They have a meltdown about me pointing out the fact that they're a bunch of hybrids. They can't handle it. They always get so mad when I bring that up. It burns the hell out of them. And then they say to me, "You don't understand how evolution works." I know how genetics work. And I know damn well you can't have a monkey and a bunch of hybrids and you come out with a human. That's genetically impossible. Even their own scientists will tell them that. In order to be a human, you got to come from a human. They did not come from humans. They came from animals. Even that Neanderthal, that damn thing was an animal. That was not a human being. That was an animal. Yeah, they're hybrids. They came from the nut sack of a black man and was crossbred with a bunch of animals. That's where they came from. Oh, I always get them with that online, and I'm telling you, it's not one that have come back and defeated me on that one yet. And it burns them up when we bring up the fact that they're a bunch of hybrids. They are like you see plants mimicking another plant. They're just mimicking us. They're not real humans. They're hybrids mimicking real humans. Sonny, go online next when you get a chance. Go on um, Google image and pull up pig eyes. Their eyes are exactly like pig eyes. I kid you not. Pigs got blue eyes, green eyes, and just look at the pig eyes and look at their eyes. They're exactly the same. Seriously, just pull up pig eyes and take a look at them. Their eyes are exactly the same. The same color eyes they have, the hazel, blue, green, pigs have those same eye colors. Pupils and all looks exactly the same. Well, Mickey, you can still come across them that are completely so hairy, they almost look like an orangutan. Yeah, that's why so many people call them pigskin. Well, a lot of people say they get their straight hair from dogs from having so much sex with dogs up in those caves that the DNA from the dog actually merged with them, and that's where the straight hair comes from. That's why their hair looks exactly like that of a dog. Yeah, look at the images of pig eyes. Their eyes are exactly like the pig eyes. They're exactly the same color and everything. You know, Sonny, they had sex with anything they could get their hands on up in those caves. And they didn't even have sense enough to know how to walk upright. It took black people to show them how to walk upright. They didn't even have sense enough to get on their 2 feet and walk upright until black people had to show them. You know, S. Wiseman, do you know they said there were chapters in the Bible that explained everything from start to finish about them, and they removed all of it from the Bible? There are chapters that we never seen or heard before, but it actually goes over how they were created, and they removed it because they want to make everybody falsely on this earth believe that they are human when they're not. They're not human at all. Yeah, we taught them everything. We even taught them how to have sex. They didn't even know how to have sex with each other. So, and in fact, white people didn't even want to get married until they saw black people were married. Then they jumped up and wanted to do the same thing too. Prior to that, it was so much homosexuality going on. They didn't even want to get married to each other. They got marriage from black people. Well, they got everything from us, but I'm just saying they got that from us. Yeah, I mean, they always did. Believe me, when they came over to this country, melanation, when they came here, they never stopped doing that. They were doing that mess in Europe. They were sleeping with animals in Europe, and believe me, when they got here to the US, they were doing it here. From the inception of this country, when they came here. Yeah, that's because look, they're a hybrid. They're just creating another hybrid, Battle X. Remember, Cap, they only bathe, I think, wasn't it once a year? I think once a year they took a bath, and it took the Moors to show them that they thought that the water was going to kill them or some mess if they got in it too much, and the Moors had to bathe in front of them to show them that nothing was going to happen to them if they took a bath all the time. Oh, these people are so stupid. Yeah, the Moors had to take baths in front of them to show them that they would not be harmed by the water. Seriously, it's the truth. Okay. You know, it's so funny because I was looking at some YouTube videos because this is funny. Loretta is my first cat. And I was trying to gather information before I got her on how to care for cats. Anyway, I came across all these videos of cats sneezing and wheezing and coughing. And I was like, why is the cat doing that? What's wrong? You know what my vet told me? He said that's because a lot of cats are allergic to their owners. That's why they cough and gag like that. And every single video that I saw a cat doing that had a white owner. Every single, I kid you not, the cats are doing that because they're allergic to their owner, and the owners are them. I never saw one video of the cat doing that with black owners, just the white ones. Yes, for real. And it took the veterinarian that I got for Loretta to tell me. He said, no, that's because the cat is allergic to the owner. I was like, are you kidding me? He says, no, that's what's happening. And I kid you not, every single one where the cat was coughing and wheezing and having a hard time breathing, the owner was white. Every single one. Well, see, all up there, if you look at all the diseases they had, even blue that bubonic plague that they had in Europe, that was because they were living in squalor. Sonny, they were living in squalor. See, the reason why it didn't impact Africa is because, see, our people were clean. Whenever the mice start becoming too much, you know what our people did? They moved the entire village to another location. When the mice start overrunning in Europe, they just continue to live in it. Live in the mice, live in the squalor, the mice droppings. They continue to live in it. That's why they got wiped out by the plague. They didn't have sense enough to get out of there when the mice start taking over. That's why it never happened in Africa. That plague never wiped out anybody in Africa because they would move the entire village somewhere else whenever the mice got out of control. Their dumbasses kept living in squalor. That's why millions of them got wiped out from that plague. But these are the same ones want to convince you that they're the smartest on earth. They're not smart at all. They only got there is because the technology of guns was given to them. And they didn't even come up with that themselves. If you read the book of Enoch, it'll tell you Azazel, the angel that's now chained up until the day of judgment, is the one that gave them weapon technology. It didn't even come from them. Yep, that's right, Lord Maul. That's it, the bubonic plague. And they got it because they continued to live in dirt and squalor and around millions of mice. That's why they died of that. Our people had sense. They moved the entire village somewhere else where it was hardly no mice. That's why they didn't get hit with it. But that's the only reason why they rule the world now. It's because of weapons. It's not because they're smart and got brains. They got weapons. And it's the reason why in the prophecy, the Most High said he's going to render their weapons as useless. It's going to come to a time, y'all, where they're not going to be able to grab a gun anymore. And when that day comes, that's when we have to go in and take care of business. But they're not going to have that at their disposal forever. So when just look at California. You see that fire going on and them losing everything. Do they look like they got access to a gun right now? You're actually seeing the way the Most High is going to do it. Do they look like they got access to a gun in those wildfires right now? That's exactly what's going to happen. Remember, America's going to burn. And when it burns, they're not going to be able to pull no gun out on you. They won't have weapons at all. You pay close attention to that fire, because remember, Babylon is going to burn. Most High has given us a mini series on what's going to happen. And when they burn, yeah, it is. That's because that tells you it's divine intervention that's doing that. Where everything is engulfed in flames, and then the trees are still standing there with green leaves. Okay. But he's showing you exactly how it's going to be done. You remember, Babylon is going down in flames. And when it goes down in flames, they're not going to have time to go grab no gun at all. And look how easy they crumble when everything is taken away from them. Look at them standing there crying and wailing and standing in ashes like they're going to find a lot in a pile of ashes. Come on. He's showing you exactly how he's going to tear them away from the weapon. Just look at the fire. And you're right. You're right, Maria. Look at the hurricanes. He's showing you how he can get them away from their weapons. All he's got to do is use the weather. A tornado, where they got to run for cover during a tornado, they don't have access to those guns. He's showing you exactly how he can get them away from those guns. Exactly, Kathy, and the heroin. So you ain't got to worry about them and their guns. That's a temporary. This situation is very temporary. They are going to be cut off from all of their weapons, and their destruction is imminent from that point on. I mean, the Most High can do anything he wants. He can start a fire and have those fires skip our houses and get all of their houses. He can do anything he wants. That's because the trees are more valuable than their homes, anything they got. The ones that don't know any better, the Black Lady of Chaos and Havoc, the ones that don't know any better are the ones that feel sorry for them. And those are usually your Christians. There's nothing you can do about that. Unfortunately, they're going to be doing that until the bitter end. Yeah, you're right, Kathy. They've been destroying this world since they left the cave. The way they burned, they would have been better off staying in the cave, because they don't do well out in the sun. But they don't want to be there. They want to be everywhere else on the earth. Yeah, yeah, Cortez. Yeah, you got to think about this. They're dying at 175 a day from the drugs, and suicide, they're dying, I believe, 121 a day. That's nearly 300 a day. Nearly 300 a day. That's outrageous. Believe me, it's far worse than what they're telling us. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're undercutting that 175, and it's probably even double that amount. I wouldn't be surprised, because they're not going to tell you the truth. Yeah, it looked like the suicide is really high everywhere for them. It really is. They just don't do well. Whenever things go wrong or life don't turn out the way they want, that's when they turn to the drugs and the suicide. That's just, and you gotta filter in the fact that they're hybrids. They're not gonna do things like humans. Us, real humans, it is just a spiritual, natural instinct that tells us, no, we can't kill ourselves. Black people just we don't kill ourselves like that. Oh, the Most High is working hard these days. He is working hard. And you got to think about it. So much of Northern California has burned to the point where even if they put that fire out tonight, the damage that's done right now at this very moment is astronomical. I believe that fire might have surpassed um, the hurricanes as far as the amount of money that it would take to rebuild. But it just blows me away how all of these disasters are happening around the same time. All happening around the same time. The only thing we need to do is tell the Most High he's done a phenomenal job and to keep it up. That's the only thing we need to tell him right now. Well, they do it to a lot of people that don't know any better. Milani Nation. They do it to a lot of people. You're not alone. I mean, many of us were brainwashed for a while. I was for a split moment, but like I said, I stopped believing them when I just noticed their actions never match their words, and they've been doing that all throughout history. And you can see Trump is doing that to his own people now. He made all those promises on the campaign trail, and he hasn't done one thing. He hasn't carried out one thing that he said he was going to do. Not one thing. So they don't just deceive us, they deceive each other too. No, Sharon, that's already prophesized. There are going to be some that see it, and then it's going to be many that will deny it. They'll just say, "Oh, well, fires happen all the time. Oh, well, hurricanes happen all the time." They're never going to admit it. But we know there has been, and do you know I was reading there was 41 police shootings since Colin Kaepernick took a knee. 41 black men have been killed by the police, but they have the nerve to be upset about people taking a knee for justice. Yeah, there'll be more people awakening, Maria Sanchez. It'll be more, Unfortunately, remember, we're just a remnant. It's going to be just a small remnant of us waking up. The majority of our people are simply not going to wake up at all. They are not going to wake up. They're going to try to side with the enemy and think they're doing the right thing, and they're not. Well, Kathy, this is not the first time. You know, when the Romans were in charge and they were killing us, we had to pay what Caesar wanted. So things haven't changed. Yeah, I'm not big on watching the NFL either, Vulcan. I just feel that if our men want to stand up, they need to be real men. You know, they're going to either be plantation slaves or they're going to be real men and stand up against those recessive owners that they have. Well, you know, Jack Johnson, Trump is ready to pull FEMA, the emergency responders, and the military out of Puerto Rico. He's ready to pull the plug on them. And all of the people haven't even been helped. They haven't even been helped. Some of them have not gotten one resource, nothing. And he's ready to cut those folks off and leave them high and dry. You know, I think they see Puerto Rico and the Virgin Island as their first effort to depopulate. I really do. I think they are looking at it like that. Oh, well, you know, here's our big chance to at least start some of the depopulation, especially the ones that can't get off of that island and leave. You know, some of them, a lot of them have left. That's why they're calling it the Puerto Rican Exodus, because so many of them have left. But there's an awful lot of them still on that island. And even the mayor said if they don't get help soon, there are going to be a lot more deaths in Puerto Rico. So, hey, I have to wonder if the ones here in the States, how come they're not going back to get their people? Oh yeah, they're going to gentrify Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. They're going to take both of them. That's why Trump keeps talking about their debt. And that's because it's going to be a takeover of Puerto Rico. When they rebuild it, it's going to be rebuilt for whites. It's not going to be rebuilt for Puerto Ricans to come back and live. And if they do go back to live, it's going to be a whole different place. It is not going to be nothing like it was before. Oh, Cap, they will see it. You know, they're in denial now, but when they start gentrifying that island, they won't be in denial anymore, especially when they can't get their property back. And like I said, Trump is already justifying taking that island over. He's going to use the debt as a reason to take it over. You can't pay your debt. Oh, well, you know, you're going to have to do something to pay your debt. What he means is you're going to have to give the island to us so that we can gentrify it and take it over completely. And you Spanish speaking bean eaters, we don't want you back. Don't come back to the islands. This is for white people only. That's what he's really telling them. and they're going to just take the property. They're not going to pay those people for the property because that's what the devil does. He's going to go in there and take all the property he wants, build all kinds of new homes and hotels and stores and restaurants, and it'll probably look just like another city somewhere. And you can best believe if they build it up, they're going to send all kinds of white contractors in there to do the building. You can best believe it. They are not going to. Those Puerto Ricans will never get that island back. Not like they think. They will never get it back. Yeah, you're going to see them colonizing it. Puerto Rico is going to be colonized. Yeah, there's so many things happening now. I agree. I mean, I never saw so many hurricanes making landfall in my life. And back just like it was almost like it was like days apart from each other, a week. And then a week later, another one came in and slammed all through the place. Actually, there's another hurricane, but it's going to hit the UK called Ophelia. Hurricane Ophelia is supposed to make landfall in the UK, from what I understand. Yeah, that's a shame. And he went in there like he was throwing like basketballs at the people. I mean, that was such an insult. How the hell do people go through a flood? They lose everything. They have no power, and you go in there and throw paper towels at them? This man is ridiculous. Like I said, he's one of many. They lack the humanity to be good leaders. That's why, if you notice, all the presidents that you live through, they're not good. They just don't have the humanity to lead. But they think they do. They think they're good leaders, and they're not good leaders at all. Never have been. A good leader should not have to enslave people. It should not have to oppress and subjugate a group. If you got to do that, then you're not a good leader. It was supposed to be there this week. I think it's called Ophelia, Hurricane Ophelia. I haven't heard about any other new ones. Oh, Sonny, I'm not surprised if that happened. And uprisings are going to happen. Yeah, I'm not surprised. That's usually how they slaughter over in Africa. They'll get one group against another group, and when you start looking at um, the history or looking at what happened, their faces are always behind the whole thing. Always. I'm not sure if they do or not, Kay. If Puerto Ricans have land deeds, I'm not sure about that. But then on the other hand, when did the devil ever play by the rules? Yeah, unfortunately, Maria, most of the African leaders are coons. Most of them very much are. Mugabe is like in a class all by himself. You don't see very many leaders even standing with him because they're afraid. They're afraid of getting cut off by the money. Robert Mugabe don't want their money. you know, and that's another reason why they hate him, because he don't want their damn money. Yeah, and Tria is mostly Hamite. Those people there are mostly Hamites. All right, bye, Elena. Shalom. But see, they don't realize Mugabe already got his next cabinet in order just in case he dies, because he's in his 90s now. So he already got it set up where when he dies, whites can't go in there and take the country over. He already got his family and everybody in place to keep the leadership black in Zimbabwe. He's not stupid. He's not stupid at all. See, some of them are under the idea that once Mugabe goes, then whites can get in there and do whatever they want. And he already got it set up where they said he got in his will exactly who's going to take over, and the country will never go back to white rulership. That's what he said. So this man already got everything mapped out. I mean, if there were more people like him in Africa, you could literally get rid of them. But unfortunately, the vast majority of the leaders in Africa are coons. Zimbabwe was one of those countries that invited us to go back to Africa and live there. You know how Ghana made that offer, and Benin? Zimbabwe also made that offer to African Americans. If you wanted to go, get land and live there, Mugabe also made that offer to us. A lot of our people don't know that. Oh, okay, Kathy. Yeah, Zimbabwe did. I'm sure you can probably call the embassy and get more information on that. But yeah, they did make the offer to African Americans to live in Zimbabwe if we wanted to get out of America. It was, unfortunately, the devil runs the media, so the word don't get out to our people like it should. Remember that they can't afford to let us go. They let us go, America will be gone overnight. Well, they have, Jerome, for many reasons, for stupid stuff. After slavery, that's why they came up with prison, to get you back there, and they did it for any reason. You were unemployed, you went to jail. If you were laughing in public or talked too loud in public, you went to jail. If you couldn't produce any papers, you went to jail. You were vagrant, you were loitering, any old dumb shit. But then in the same token, they're telling you you're the most violent. Well, that's awfully strange how we are the most violent, but they don't seem to be putting you in prison over the most violent acts. They're putting you in prison for nonviolent drug possession. How does that add up to the most violent? And most black people are in jail for drug possession, not even dealing the damn drugs, drug possession. Yeah, laughing out loud. If black people laughed out loud or talked too loudly in public, they put you in prison. You went on a chain gang over that. That's why I said, don't worry about them talking about you are the most violent. But every time they arrest you, they're arresting you on some bogus drug charge. Get out of here. That don't add up to no most violent. Don't listen to them. Seriously, don't listen to them. Yeah, well, I encourage everybody to get their passport. Get your passport. I've had my passport since I got my first passport in the 90s. Get your passport. My son got his passport. I encourage all of y'all to get your passport. They're not worried about giving you a passport. Passports, if they don't want you to leave the country, they can revoke your passport, just like your driver's license. If they don't want you on the road, they can suspend your driver's license. They're not worried about giving you a passport. Okay, nobody is worried about that. That doesn't mean you don't get it. I mean, we know they suspend driver's license. That doesn't mean you don't get one. It's the same thing with your passport. Just because they can revoke one, that doesn't mean you shouldn't get one. Make sure you get it. And if you want dual citizenship, with Zimbabwe, just find out how it's done. That's all. You can just contact them, and the embassy is the best place to start, and talk to somebody over at the embassy and find out how to get dual citizenship with Zimbabwe. And what type of things do they offer African Americans if you wanted to go over there? I'm sure it can't be that difficult to find out. Or if you wanted to establish a business, or maybe run some white person off of some farmland and take it over. I love Mugabe. Mugabe said no black will go to jail for killing a white. I love that man. Seriously, find out if there's any whites they want to get off of farmland in Zimbabwe, and ask them, can you go over there and get it? You'll run them off. You'll get them the hell out. Well, Mugabe said that he need to bridge communication with us. He realized that we have been cut off from communicating with people in Africa. Oh, thank you for coming, Joseph. Shalom. Yeah, but you know what? They're dying out there too, Melon Nation. They're dying out just like they're dying out here, they're dying out in South Africa. They got a drug problem in South Africa. In fact, everywhere these demons are, there's a drug problem there. Shoot, I would want the farmland if I went to Zimbabwe. You can grow your own crops and sell them. And sell them to the people. Just tell them, look, can I have dual citizenship? And if I get dual citizenship, can I get one of those farms? You can hire people and grow some great crops. Me too. I want to run one of them off from farmland. You know, it'd just be fun to do it. It'd be fun to do it, and knowing that the Zimbabwe government won't do anything to me. Say, yeah, I like this farm. A lot of acres. Yeah, I like everything. Get these devils off the land. I'd do it in the middle of the night when they're sleeping, wake them up. You need to get out. I'm going to take your home and all of this land. Get out now. I have lemonade that I made. Yeah, I'm serious. You wake their butts up in the middle of the night. Say, I like this farmland. I want it. You need to leave now or else. Woo, I would love it. Well, it will probably happen, Sonny, because, you know, in the last days, the Most High is going to force us all back together. So if he's forcing them back together, that means even whites in Africa are going to leave and join their own people. Like I said, I like Mugabe's rules. Black people don't go to jail for killing white people. I like his rules. those are good rules. And don't worry about them gentrifying, because their gentrifying is just temporary. If you ain't reproducing, how long are you going to gentrify a place? Come on. They're not even replacing the dead. So believe me, the gentrification is going to flop right in their face, especially when they don't have the numbers to keep it going. And at the rate they're dying out, the 175 a day, they're only temporary gentrifying the place. All they're doing, they're just doing it temporarily. Yeah. Get your shit and get the hell out. Exactly, Jack Johnson. That's what I want to do. I want to go to Zimbabwe, knock on one of their doors and say, you got to leave now. You got to get the F out now. Hopefully it'll be some old fart, some old cave fart that I'm doing it to. Well, I got an article coming out tomorrow about America's birth rate dropping. So just look for that video tomorrow. And it's a pretty recent article that came out about that. Knock on the door. What the F are you doing here? Get out. That's what I want to do. I just want to come up on them in the middle of the night or come early in the morning. They're in the shower, taking their shower, knock on the door. You got to leave now. You got to leave now. I'm in the shower. I don't care. I don't care. Get out the shower and get out. Just get out. We don't have nothing but the clothes on our back. I don't care. Get out. That's what I want. That's what I want to do. But yeah, I might even call the embassy just to find out, because I know Zimbabwe has an embassy in New York. They might have another one in DC. Well, a lot of them have that. If they got an embassy in New York, they usually have one in DC. And just find out what steps you have to take in order to get dual citizenship with Zimbabwe, or get a Zimbabwe passport. So then find out, and how to go about getting land or starting a business there. Yeah, you would have to visit them first and determine, what the climate is like there, and the people, and just the overall location. Because it's going to be different everywhere, just like here. You're going to have your poor areas and you're going to have your more upscale areas. So you have to check all of that out. And believe me, the white people had the best land and the best homes over there. To reclaim it back. But yeah, they got the nerve to try to fight Mugabe in court. See, many of them got that land when the country was still called Rhodesia. and the people were treated like crap. It was just as bad as South Africa for the black population. Did those people like dirt, stole their land, and Mugabe has taken the land back because most of them can't even produce a deed for the land. They just got free land. Just like here in America, when they came over here, they just got free land. They didn't pay for nothing. Everything was handed to them. They didn't earn nothing. They'll sit in your face and tell you they earned everything, but when you go back and look at the history, they didn't earn shit. They didn't work and they did not earn anything. Oh man, y'all are so funny. Yeah, they didn't earn nothing. Everything was literally handed to them. They didn't earn shit. And so much of our land after chattel slavery, a lot of our own families had land in the South, and even that got stolen. So, many of us that don't even know it, we're entitled to our land. I mean, I had relatives that had their land stolen away. So, and I'm sure it's a lot of black people that don't even know their family had land in the South right after slavery and it got taken away. Yeah, yeah, they are. They always try to think of crafty ways to get things away from us or put you in jail. Yeah, I know. I know they're still doing it. I know. Oh yeah, a lot of people are aware of their family losing um land, especially if there was any type of riot like Black Wall Street or Rosewood. All of that land got stolen. All of it. Slocum, Texas. I did a video on that massacre and they stole everything, the businesses, the homes, the bank accounts that black people had. They stole everything. Everything. I mean, even a lot of businesses that white people have had in their family been passing down. Some of those businesses started out with black owners and those businesses were stolen. I mean, that's why they don't want to give you reparations because they owe us so much. America would literally go broke if they had to pay us. But don't worry, according to biblical text, the Most High is going to shake them down for what we're owed. we don't have to do anything. He's going to be shaking them down for everything that's owed. Remember, when this country falls, we're going to be leaving out of here loaded. We are going to be leaving out of here with a pocket full of everything. Yeah. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about nothing. They got to give up the goods one way or another. And they're going to have to give it up. They're not going to have a choice. Hmm. Well, just know, I know it's really hard for us. It really is. But just know when we get to the top, our top is permanent. We become the head forever. They are just temporary. That's why they're going out of their mind. They know it. They know their fall is about to happen at any time, and they know it. And it's going to be deeply embarrassing for them because, see, the Most High is going to make them fall before the entire world. Everybody on the planet is going to see their fall. And it's coming. Look how reckless Donald Trump is. It's coming, y'all. It's coming. Oh, yeah. Yeah. America got nerve talking about somebody's debt, and America is trillions in debt. And I'm sure because they're talking Puerto Rico is billions in debt. And America is sitting here at trillions in debt and got the nerve to complain about them. That's a devil for you. Okay, y'all. Thank you for coming. I'm going to end the live stream. It was a pleasure chopping it up with you. And like I said, if you can become a patron or give a donation, I would appreciate it. Because look like things are about to go south on YouTube, especially for individual creators of videos. And you know how it is. They always want to make our lives suck. That's just the way it is. Yeah, well, it is embarrassing. How the hell do you call yourself a superpower and you're that far in debt? And America's never going to pay that debt back. They're never going to pay it back, ever. But thank you. Thank you to the Rabat family. Like I said, it was a pleasure, and we'll definitely do this again. I intend on doing live stream at least once a week. So take care. Love you all. Shalom.